There is a glass jug sitting on the workbench in my garage right now, and there is no label on it. Just about a quart of amber liquid and a little squeeze bottle with a narrow tip standing beside it. That jug cost me $4 at the grocery store. Tuesday morning, I carried it out to the front yard and knelt down by the mailbox, where a dandelion the size of a dinner plate had been mocking me since the middle of March. I parted the leaves back with 2 fingers and put 1 drop of that liquid down into the middle of the plant. 1 drop. By supper time, the leaves had gone limp. By Thursday, the whole thing was black and shriveled flat against the dirt, and the grass around it, close enough that the blades were touching it, was as green as it had been the day before. Folks around here call this the Amish way, and there is a good reason for that. The Plain families out past the county line never kept a wall of bottles in the shed. They kept a jug in the kitchen, and they had knees. But stay with me to the end, my friend, because whether that drop kills the weed clean or burns a silver dollar of dead grass into your yard comes down to one specific thing your lawn does in the first 2 hours after sunrise. Nobody ever explains that part, and it decides everything. I'm Garry Strickland. I'm 63 years old. I spent my working life as a carpenter, and for better than 30 years, I have kept the same quarter acre in the same Midwest neighborhood. Most of what I know came from an old neighbor of mine named Earl, a World War II veteran who had the thickest lawn on the street and nothing in his shed but a rotary mower and a coffee can of grass seed. The rest of it came from the fella who kept the cemetery grounds and the man who kept the ball field downtown, and I tried every bit of it out here on my own yard before I ever told anybody about it. Now, you have bought the bottle. I have bought the bottle. It sits on the shelf at the hardware store in a yellow jug with a hose end sprayer screwed on top. It runs about $40 now, and you drag it back and forth across the whole front lawn on a Saturday morning. For about 10 days, it looks like it worked. The dandelions go yellow and curl up on themselves. Then the rain comes through, and one morning in the second week, you walk out on the porch with your coffee, and there they are again. Same plants, same spots, pushing up brand new leaves. Let me tell you what that sprayer actually did. It wet the leaves, and the leaves are not the plant. Under every dandelion in your yard is a taproot that can run 8 or 10 inches straight down into the soil, thick as a pencil on a young one, thick as your thumb on an old one. Burn the leaves off the top, and that root still has everything it needs down there in the dark. So it builds new ones. 10 days, maybe 12, and it is right back where it was. So you buy the yellow jug again next spring, $40, and the spring after that. That is the kind of math the catalog stopped doing for you, and I am going to come back to that business about 2 hours before we are done, because the timing is the part everybody gets wrong. Now, everything I am showing you today is written out plainly in a little book I put together called The Old Ways, 50 Forgotten Lawn Secrets from America's Greatest Groundskeepers. My name is on the front of it, and it is 104 pages of the small, cheap, patient tricks the old fellas taught me over 30 years. I wrote it all down because the men who taught me are nearly all gone now, and when they go, it goes with them. What you are learning today lives in part 1, the foundation, right alongside the soil secrets those groundskeepers swore by. It is $17 right now, marked down from $47. $17, one time against a $40 bottle you buy again every single spring. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time, there is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. All right, let me show you what is actually inside that jug. because it is going to disappoint you in the very best way. It is apple cider vinegar. That is all. 1 quart of it, which is 4 cups, the plain amber kind that sits on the bottom shelf at the grocery store for about $4. $4. Into that quart go 5 drops of plain dish soap. 5 drops, not 5 squirts. I want to be clear on that, because if you put a big glug of soap in there, the whole business foams up and runs right out of the bottle where you never wanted it going. The soap is in there for one reason. Take a good look at a dandelion leaf sometime out in the sunshine. It has a waxy skin on it, and water beads up and rolls off of it the same way it rolls off a waxed truck hood. 5 drops of dish soap breaks that surface just enough that your drop sits down and soaks in instead of sliding off into the grass. And now, let me tell you what is not in that jug, because this is where nearly every recipe floating around online will lead you wrong. There is no salt in it. Not a spoonful, not a cup, none. Salt does kill weeds, and I will give it that much. Salt also stays in your soil, and it stays, and it stays, and nothing much grows in that spot for a long while afterward. Vinegar is a different animal altogether. Vinegar breaks down in soil in a matter of days and leaves nothing behind it. That is the difference between a weed that dies and a bare patch you are still staring at next July. So, 1 quart of apple cider vinegar, 5 drops of dish soap. Cap it, tip it over gently a few times to mix, and do not shake it up into a foam. Now, the tool. And I want you to hear this part because it matters more than the recipe does. Do not put this in a sprayer. Not a pump sprayer, not a spray bottle, not the hose end kind. A sprayer makes a mist, and a mist drifts. It goes wherever the little bit of breeze wants to take it, and that is exactly how a fella ends up with brown speckles scattered through good grass. What you want is a squeeze bottle with a narrow tip on it. The kind of bottle mustard comes in at a church picnic. They sell them at the dollar store for about $1.50. An old eyedropper works just fine. So does a turkey baster if your hands are not as steady as they once were, and mine are not as steady as they once were either. The whole point of that narrow tip is control. You are putting a drop exactly where you mean to put it, on a spot maybe 2 inches across, without touching one blade of grass on the way in. And I will say this plainly, vinegar is still an acid. It will sting your eyes and it will sting a cut on your hand. Put on your reading glasses or a pair of safety glasses, keep it off the flowers you actually want to keep, and wash your hands when you are finished. Same as you would with anything else out of the garage. All right, now get down on your knees in the grass next to that dandelion with me, and take your time. There is no rush on any of this. Part the leaves back with 2 fingers and look down at the very center of the plant, right where every one of those leaves comes out of one single point at the soil line. That little knot right there is called the crown. And the crown is the whole ball game. Think of it this way. The taproot underneath is the pantry. It is full of stored food and it can sit down there for years. The crown at the top is the factory. It is the only place on that plant that can build a new leaf. When you spray the leaves, you are burning up the groceries. The pantry is still full, the factory is untouched, and in 10 days that factory builds a whole new set of leaves out of what was saved up. When you put 1 drop straight down into the crown, you are burning the factory, and a pantry with no factory has nothing left to do but sit in the ground and rot. That is why 1 drop in the right place beats a whole tank in the wrong place. It is not about how much of the stuff you put down, it is about where you put it, and that is also why this never harms your grass when you do it right. You are not treating a lawn, you are treating one plant on purpose with about as much liquid as a single raindrop. Now remember what I told you about the first 2 hours after sunrise. Hold on to that because that is the part that decides whether this goes exactly the way I just described it or goes badly. So, step by step, kneel down beside the weed, get comfortable, take your time, part the leaves back with 2 fingers of your offhand until you can see bare dirt in the middle. Bring the tip of your squeeze bottle down low, about an inch off the ground, right over that center point. Give it 1 squeeze, 1 drop. Let the leaves fall back over it. That is it. That is the whole thing. For a young dandelion, 1 drop finishes it. For a big old one with a taproot as thick as your thumb, count out 3 drops, 1 at a time, right down in the same spot. 3 drops, not a puddle, not a stream. 3 drops. Do not squirt the leaves. I know the leaves are the easy target, and I know it feels like you are doing more good that way. You are not. Every bit that lands on a leaf is $4 vinegar running off into the dirt. And when you are done with a weed, walk on and leave it be. Do not pull it. Do not mow it off. Do not go digging at it. Just let it stand there and take its medicine. I went out along the driveway last Saturday morning with that little bottle in my back pocket and did 11 weeds. From the mailbox down to the garage, 11 weeds, and I was back inside before my coffee went cold. That is the honest amount of work this is. Let me tell you what you will see over the next few days, so you know it is working and you are not out there wondering. By supper time that same evening, the leaves lay down. They go soft and limp like lettuce left out on the counter. Day 2, the center goes brown and the whole plant pulls in on itself. Day 3, it is black and flat against the soil, shrunk down to about the size of a quarter. Now, this is where folks get it wrong at the end. Do not pull it out. I know the temptation because it is ugly and you want it gone. But when you pull a taproot, it snaps off somewhere down in the ground, and a broken piece of taproot can turn around and sprout a whole new plant. Leave it alone. The soil will take it in a couple of weeks, and your grass will creep in over the top and close that hole for you. Then, 7 days later, go back and look at the spot. Get down close. If you see one tiny green rosette starting in the middle, that old root had a little more left in it than you figured. 1 more drop, same as before, and that is truly the end of that plant. And I want to be honest with you about the word forever, because I have never cared for overselling. That plant is finished for good. Its root does not come back, but seed blows in off the neighbor's yard and off the ditch bank every year of your life. So this is a habit, not a miracle. Once a month with a bottle in your back pocket, and you stay ahead of it easily. Now, this does not work on everything, and anybody who tells you it does is selling you something. It works beautifully on what the old fellas called rosette weeds. Those are the ones that grow flat in a circle with all the leaves coming out of one center point. Dandelion, of course, broadleaf plantain, that wide flat one with the heavy ribs running up the leaf, curly dock thistle, chicory with the blue flower out along the roadside. Every one of those has a single crown, and a single crown is a single target. Where it falls down is crabgrass and the other grassy weeds, because a crabgrass plant does not have one crown to hit. It has a dozen little growing points where the stems touch down, and you would be out there all afternoon chasing them. Same story with creeping Charlie, that ground ivy with the scalloped leaves and the little purple flower. It runs along on stems and puts roots down at every joint, so there is no single spot that finishes it. And nutsedge, the shiny light green one that shoots up taller than everything 3 days after you mow, grows off little nuts down in the soil. This will not touch those. Those are all different jobs for different days. But for dandelion and plantain and thistle, which is most of what is bothering most of you right now, this drop is the cleanest, cheapest thing I know of. Which brings us to the thing I promised you at the very start. 2 hours. That is the window I want you thinking about. The first 2 hours after the sun comes up over your yard. For those 2 hours, your entire lawn is wet. Not from rain, from dew. Every blade of grass, every leaf, and most important of all, down in that little cup at the center of the weed where you are aiming. And dew is the whole difference between the folks who swear by this method and the folks who say it does not work and burn a ring in their grass trying it. On a wet crown, this is what happens. Your drop comes down out of the bottle and lands in water. It thins out immediately, and water moves. It runs off the crown, down the leaf stems, out into the thatch at the base of the plant, and it carries that acid sideways with it. And your grass has crowns too, sitting right down there at the soil line, an inch or two away. You do not see a thing that day. 4 days later, there is a pale ring where the weed used to be, about the size of a silver dollar, and that grass is gone. On a dry crown, it goes completely different. The drop lands and it stays. It sits in that little cup where the leaves come together, held right there by its own surface tension, and it soaks down into the one growing point you aimed at. Nothing travels. The grass 3 inches away never knows a thing happened. And there is a second half to this, the sun. What that vinegar does is open up the skin of the plant so it loses water faster than the root can push water back up to it. On a bright, hot, dry afternoon, a wounded crown loses that race in 3 or 4 hours, and it is finished. On a gray, cool, damp day, that same plant has all afternoon to sit there and repair itself, and by evening, it has mostly won. So the rule is simple, and I want you to write it on the jug with a marker. Wait until the dew is gone. That is usually about 2 hours after sunrise, somewhere between 9 and 10 in the morning for most of us. But do not go by the clock. Put the back of your hand flat down on the grass. If it comes up dry, you are clear to work, 70 degrees or warmer, 70 degrees, not 60. Sun in the yard, and nothing coming in the forecast for the rest of the day. The fellow who kept the cemetery grounds in my town never once looked at his watch to decide any of this. He would lay his palm flat on the turf, and when it came up dry, he went to work. It took me a few summers to understand that he was reading something. Dew gone, sun out, 70 degrees. Get those 3 right, and 1 drop is all you will ever need. And that right there is exactly the kind of thing the old fellas taught me, and it never once got printed on the back of a bottle. The book has 49 more just like it, laid out just as plain. The Old Ways, 50 Forgotten Lawn, Secrets from America's Greatest Groundskeepers, 104 pages, my name on the front. $17 right now, down from $47. One time against $40 a spring for as long as you own that yard. Now, go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time. There is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. 1 quart of apple cider vinegar, 5 drops of dish soap, 1 drop down in the crown after the dew has burned off. Now do me a favor. Tell me in the comments what your lawn is fighting right now and what state you are in. I read every single one. Next time, I am going to show you what that cemetery groundskeeper did to bare spots every September that got grass seed rooted in about 4 days instead of 3 weeks. And it starts with something most folks rake up and haul out to the curb. Keep that lawn thick and green, my friend, and I'll see you over the fence.